Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Reverend James, and I'm going to be teaching you guys today about moving candle spells. And to different people, that might mean different things. Um, I'm also an AIR member, so the Association of Independent Readers and Rootworkers, and a part of Hoodoo Psychics. You can also find my website at folkconjure.com, and you can check out my candle ministry at folkfaithministries.com. So, moving candle spells. What do you guys think when you think of moving candle spells? Do you think of literally moving candles? Okay. That's typically what most people think, is that you're moving candle spells. But there's also other ways to look at moving candle spells. It's not just moving candles. So it depends on how you kind of put the stress on the word. So if it's moving candle spells, then you may be moving candles. But you can also have moving candle spells where you're moving things in a candle spell. So um, not just candles, there's more to it than just candles. And a lot of what it's about is about pushing, pulling, and pressure, positive and negative pressure. Okay. So one of the first things that I wanted to start with here is I wanted to mention the Master Book of Candle Burning by Henry Gamache. It's a great book. It's a really great book to show you how to get started with moving candle spells. Gives you great examples, helps you open up to different ideas. It's kind of where I started with my moving candle spells, so it's a really good place to start if you want to, start delving into those things. It also has a lot of other kind of spells, but moving candle spells takes up about half of the book. But what I wanted to talk about first is one of the things that most people hear about whenever you're doing moving candle spells, is love drawing. And this is a very simple spell. So if I'm just going to use the woman as the subject and the male as the target or the attractant, okay? And I like to start whatever I'm working with, whatever I'm drawing to in the center, because that's the center of my attention, it's the center of my focus. And I typically like to start whatever I'm drawing to me further away from me, obviously, so that we can move it towards us. And the moving is very important because when you move it, as the candle starts to melt, it'll obviously create wax pools. And sometimes when you're moving your candle across every couple of hours, every couple of days, depending on how long your ritual is, sometimes the candle will get stuck and you'll think, well, maybe I should just, let it burn out and leave it there. But the important part of a moving candle spell is the moving. So whenever they get stuck, that's a symbol, that's a sign of a divinatory sign that the person is stuck. They're not able to move forward. So it's really important that whenever you're doing moving candle spells, that if a candle you're moving gets stuck, don't be afraid to give it a little force, break the stickiness. And that's kind of a way, if you've ever heard of saving a light in a candle. So whenever you're burning vigil candles, sometimes the wick will drop, or something will catch fire and it'll get a little sooty, and you think, well, if you're doing this as a test reading candle, then you may want to just let it do its thing and then read the divinations afterwards. But typically in moving candle spells, you're bringing something to you. So you don't want just divinatory. You want to force whatever it is to you, or force whatever it is away from you. So even when it gets stuck, especially when it gets stuck, you want to force it out of the way. Okay. Um, So this would be a typical come to me spell. You're using two candles, a male and a female, and you're moving them inch by inch by inch closer together. Okay. Another candle spell. Let's see if I can get this to stand. If not, we'll just lay it down for now. Okay. So if you have a man that you're trying to catch that has another woman, then you might want to take another female candle and have them face back to back on the opposite side. So then you're forcing them apart. You're creating pressure between them, and you're creating a pull towards you and a push away from them. So you're inching them closer together to you and them further apart. You'll notice that you will get some divinatory readings out of this. So if the candle wax begins to flow backwards, then maybe they're still having a connection to their ex or their current partner or whoever you're trying to separate them from. If the wax starts to flow towards your candle, then that means that they're reaching out to you. They have an attraction to you. So it will be easier to catch this person. Okay. Now you can add other accoutrements to this. So if you're doing like a breakup work in this case, you might put a pair of scissors in between these to symbolically show that you're cutting ties between these two people. Another thing that you might see in various spells of pictures that you might see are the candles tied together with a string, and then they're burnt and separated. This is another way that you can show a symbolic connection that's being broken, and then you're moving them towards you. So then we have the first one I would consider a blessing, where you're drawing things, just two people together. You know, that you're not trying to break anybody up, you're not trying to curse anybody and ruin a relationship. So I would consider that a blessing. When you're breaking someone up and you're drawing them to you, it's kind of like a half curse and a half blessing. You're kind of cursing the couple to separate, and then you're drawing them to you as a blessing. Another thing that I like to do, especially with clients where they come to me and they say, hey, you know, I've got this man that I'm in love with, and they're not very happy together. She's cheating on him, he's cheating on her, and I'm with somebody, and they're cheating on me and all of this. So the best thing that I think in those cases would be to just separate the couple and bring them to new love. So instead of separating this person out in this instance and giving them a black candle, you might use a red candle. So let's pretend that this is also a red candle, all right? And what we're doing at that point, that won't stand. So what we're going to do is, instead of creating a curse where we're just trying to break these people up, we're going to send them in places to where they are happy. So we know this person's cheating on this person with this person, and we know that this person's cheating on this person with this person. So what we're going to do is, instead of, you know, focusing on the breaking up part, we're going to say, hey, you know, you've got this nice thing over here. I've got this nice thing over here. How about we just go our separate ways, and we both lead to happiness? And I kind of think that's less of a curse and more of a double blessing. So that way, both people get what they want, and you're not hurting someone else. So if you're kind of a lady-hearted worker, that might be a better way to go about it. Uncrossing. So a lot of times we end up where we want to remove something that's attached to us that we don't want anymore. It could be a negative bad habit, it could be a curse, it could be a jinx, it could be a hex, it could be a person. So another spell that is in Henry's book, but I kind of like to do a little bit different, is something similar to this. Let me just grab a few more white candles here. I'm going to turn this towards you guys. We're just going to pretend those are unlabeled, all right? So these can be 7-day candles. They can be regular household candles. They can be tea lights. Doesn't really matter. The thing that you do want to focus on is that the middle candle is a black candle, or a candle that is representative of something negative. That's what we're focusing on. These things are positive candles. If you're using 7-day candles, you can use things like blessing, you can use things like healing, you can use things like cast off evil, uncrossing, jinx breaker, etc. And what we're going to do is we're going to light this candle, and we're going to light each one of these candles Doesn't really matter in any particular order. I personally like to go top to bottom. I like to start with this one and then to go top to bottom. The reason I'm starting with this candle is because right now this is the thing that's affecting us. It is active and it's affecting us right now. So we light it first, and then we say a prayer that may these things be removed from my life. May I be uncrossed. You can pray the 23rd Psalm, any kind of thing that is healing and cleansing to you. And then what you're going to do is slowly move each of these in a little bit at a time. And after you move these in, you're going to extinguish this candle. And the reason you're extinguishing this candle is because you're putting out that bad habit. You're putting out that negative attachment, that curse, that cross. And what we're doing is if we remember what I was speaking about in the beginning, is that we're putting a positive pressure on the negative thing in our life. So as we move this in, each time you start the ritual the next day, you light this candle, say the removing prayer again, and snuff it out, so that you're continually snuffing out this bad thing that's in your life. You can
snuff out the middle one before you light the outside ones?
Correct. And then you slowly move them in. Now, in Henry's book, he likes to do something where it ends up like this. To me, this isn't my favorite type of setup because to me, this looks like a road. You know, you have a pathway here, and it's creating a road for whatever this thing is to get back out. And we don't want that. So I personally like to bring it in a little bit and create a circle around it. So in essence, we're kind of creating a fiery wall of protection around this thing that we don't want to keep it subdued. Okay? Another way that you can do this, and this just goes to show the variability in the ways that you can do moving candles. So let's say that you have a candle that represents you, and I don't see one right off, but let's say that you have a candle that is a blessing candle. Okay, this is your candle, this is your blessing candle. This is the candle of whatever you want to remove. Okay, and you're going to start it really close to you. So then you're going to light your candle. You're going to light your helper candle, and then you're going to light your bad habit candle or your curse candle or your cross candle or what have you. And then as you you make prayers, saying, please remove this thing from my life, 23rd Psalm, you just slowly move the curse candle away from you. And as you know, you're going to be working on a fairly small area, I assume. You're not going to have like a giant kitchen counter that you're working on that's 20 feet long. So whenever your black candle gets to the end of whatever you're working on, you snuff it. You put it out. You leave these to burn. Okay, it's kind of similar to if you've ever done a fiery wall of protection working, where you take the black candle and you turn it upside down and you snuff it into some graveyard dirt. You can do the same thing if you're working with household candles or other candles that aren't glass encased.
Now, whenever you're moving this candle away, is that over a course of days or just moving it away and then?
It depends on you, and it depends on the ritual you're working or how it was prescribed to you. I like to work in threes, so I would maybe say 3 days type of working, or if I was using these types of candles, I would do it over a 5 to 7 day period, because they're 7-day candles. They typically burn about 5 days. But it really depends. It depends on your divination. It depends on the type of ritual you're doing. If you found one in a book that specifies it a certain way, I typically like to follow however I was told to do something. And then if it works out for me, great. And if not, that's whenever I kind of start to do a little bit of tweaking. Absolutely.
What was the name of the book you can write for?
The Master Book of Candle Burning by Henry Gamache. Of course, I think Henry Gamache was a pseudonym. I could be wrong. So another way that you can think about this same working we just did if you're wanting to curse someone. So let's pretend that these are black candles, just because I don't want to have to keep grabbing different candles. We're going to be doing pretty much the same thing we were doing to get rid of the bad habit, except we're going to be doing it with a different intention. So in this case, we would be lighting these candles that may be dressed with crossing, cursing, inflammatory confusion oil, things of that nature. And this is the candle that you're going to be cursing, the person that you want to curse, the person that you want to jinx or whatnot. So in this case, we're doing the same thing, but instead of snuffing the candle out, we're praying that they get cursed, they get crossed, they have such and such happen to them. And in this case, we're putting pressure on them. So not only are you, using inflammatory confusion candles, but you're putting an energetic pressure on this person so that they can psychically feel the pressure of everything on them. And again, I like to do the same thing where once it comes in, I don't want to leave this person a way out. I'm wanting to curse them and I'm wanting it to stick. So again, I like to circle the candles so we don't leave a symbolic pathway out of either direction. Now, in this instance, speaking of a road, this might kind of bring to ideas of a road opener style of working. Okay, so we can turn the candles in a kind of a different way and look at this from a different perspective. So what if we did this and we had road opener candles along the sides, and then this is our candle. Okay, this is the candle that represents us. So we're putting road opener oil, road opener herbs, and things like that in it, Abra Camino, what have you. And you're doing the same thing with each of these. You may want to put things like blessing in here as well, or depending on what you're trying to open your road to, if it's prosperity, if it's love, you would also add that to these candles. And then what you're doing is you're kind of making your way through the road. And you may want to have, if you've got steps to whatever you're doing. So like if you're trying to get a job, maybe you put some things in these first candles that might help you with getting the application, getting jobs to come to you that you can apply to. Then once you get about here, you may start putting in things like boss fix and things so that you can get that job a little easier. Whoever you're working with, by the time the candle gets there, you're starting to talk to other people in the business that you're wanting to get in. Okay, so then by here, you may want to put wealthy way style oils or prosperity, so that once you get to here with your candle, you've walked through the process symbolically of what you need to do, so that you've already put out that intention into the world that this is how I want it to go. This is the progress that I want it to have. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions so far? Absolutely.
So, sort of a specific question.
That's okay.
If you were doing this work for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
would it be better to use like one of the figure candles just to represent them?
Absolutely. I'm just using these just because they're easy to handle and stand and maneuver. But any of these workings could be done with figural candles, could be done with household candles, whatever you have. The great thing about figural candles, household candles, etc., is you get that wax flow. You get that divinatory sign and things that you're not going to necessarily get from these. And especially whenever you're moving vigil candles, you might, jerk a little bit and you're going to slip, and you're going to have some wax move around and create different signs and symbols in the glass that wouldn't necessarily typically be there if you just left it alone. Does that make sense?
And when you get done with an uncrossing spell,
Mhm.
you've got like your black candle,
Mhm.
like what was holding the candle. Should you do something special when you get rid of that?
As far as I'm concerned, whenever I've got something that doesn't serve me, I want to throw it in the trash. And that's probably what I would do, except for if it's glass. If you live in a state or somewhere that recycles glass, or if you're a candle maker, clean it out, cleanse it with some Florida water, make a new candle. Absolutely.
So for the cage work that we were describing earlier, like having a positive set of candles around an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you've done that, you've moved it and everything. Where does that live in your house? Is it the same? Do you bless it and throw it away? Or?
You mean like if this was the bad habit, what would you do with it once it was?
Does it
Well,
always stay there?
no. You would get rid of it, and typically, with that style of working, you're pinching out this candle, so you're going to have a lot of wax left over. It's just like in a fiery wall of protection. You wait until the candle's half burnt of the negative person that you're trying to protect from, and then you snuff the candle out. Then you just take that candle, and what some people do is, if this person's typically really mean, you take it and throw it against a gravestone in a graveyard and wish them die. And you can totally do that. You can do that with this candle. You can do that with this. You can take this to the graveyard, and if you're bold enough to throw it against a tombstone or something, or rocks, go for it. But I would just typically, if you're sensitive to negative energies and things, and you're worried about this candle, I would just sprinkle some holy water over it or some Florida water over it and throw it away, chunk it, recycle. Yep, you can do that too, just not in your yard.
Yeah.
Not in your yard.
In their yard.
There you go. That's even better. That's even better. Exactly. Especially if it's a cursing thing. Excuse me. Okay. So another thing for road opening. Just because this is a different color candle, I'm going to keep continuing to use it as the self candle, the person candle. Okay. So we're going to pretend that this is us, and we want to draw in some new opportunities. We're wanting to, maybe bring in new jobs. If we do gig work, maybe we're trying to get new clients, things like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to name each one of these candles for a thing that you desire, or for the thing that you want, or for the opportunity that you're looking for. Especially if it's just, if it's just new job, put new job on all of them, and a little petition on the bottom. If you've got one of these candles, you can carve it into the bottom. If you've got a household candle, I like to spiral my writing around a household candle. Some people just go up and down. It doesn't really matter. But then what you're going to do is you're going to slowly draw all these opportunities to you. And this isn't one where you're going to be, snuffing anything out. You're just slowly drawing all of these in. And then what you're going to do afterwards is you're going to look at these 3 candles and see the divinatory signs in them. Especially if it's this, or a household candle. If any on the way towards you, if any of them pull towards your candle, then maybe that one is going to be easier for you to get. Maybe somebody will reach out to you and say, hey, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. I want you to join our company. If they start to reach out, that would be ones that are going to be harder to get. It's going to be, you're going to have to do a little bit of extra legwork. But again, that's where one of those things where when the pooling happens, your candle's going to get stuck. So if you really want that job, especially if it's pulling towards you, take that candle, break the seal, and move it closer to you. Okay.
On that one, what was the black candle?
This is the U candle.
So what do you use for that? Just like a person? Or
It could be a person. It could be a color that represents you. In Henry Gamash's book, he talks about astral candles, which goes by your astrology sign. You can choose to use one of those. Yep, there you go. So you can use one of those candles, just whatever you feel represents you.
thank you so much.
So let's say that somebody's lying to you, and you know that there's a secret going around, and maybe a lot of your friends are talking about it, but nobody's telling you. You want the truth to come out of whatever this is that's going on in your life. So maybe what you do excuse me, is you have a U candle and you have a truth candle, a secret candle. So you can name that. I would use a blue candle, a light blue candle. Light blue is typically used for communication and works. So I would use a light blue candle. This is the U candle, and you're going to put clarity oil on this candle, clarity oil on your candle, and you're going to pray that whatever this secret is, reveal itself, that it come out into the open. Truth will out, as they say. And then simple, of course, you just draw the truth to you. Moving candle spells can be so diverse. You just kind of have to think of, again, that pushing, the pulling, and the pressure on different things and how that would relate to a candle. Another one that is really great is if you want to, let's say you want to reverse something that's been done to you. Let's say that you have somebody working against you and you want to remove what they've done to you and send it back to them, okay? So let's pretend that, no, I'm going to use a different candle just to make this a little easier. This is the U candle, okay? This is a fiery wall of protection candle. So it could be a purple household candle. It could be a purple vigil candle with fiery wall of protection printed on it, what have you. This will be an inflammatory confusion candle, a doom candle, any kind of the curse that you want to put onto your person, the person that you're trying to curse, okay? And that candle is going to go between you and the fiery wall of protection. So do you see where I'm kind of going with this already? All right. And this is the other person's candle, okay? And this is going to go here. So what we're doing in this one is we are keeping these two the same. These are staying because this is you. This is your fiery wall of protection. You're not moving. You're standing your ground. These candles are the ones that you're going to address with inflammatory confusion candle or oil, crossing, cursing, oil, what have you. And you're going to start moving them away. Okay, and this will be this could be a reversing candle. So if you wanted to reverse whatever they had done to you, if you wanted to curse them and not necessarily what they had sent to you, you want to do something worse, so i.e. doom, you know, kill them. And you're just going to continue to move them out of your life. And this is going to keep protecting you. So then you're going to, again, read those signs. So if this candle, for instance, the candle that you're using as a cursing on the person, if that starts to reach out and pull backwards and gets past your fiery wall of protection, leaks past it and comes towards your candle, then you know that this person is a strong worker. They're doing some things that are getting past your protection. You still need to do some more. It's not enough. It's getting through your protection. Okay. If it starts to pull towards them, then you know that your cursing is being effective, especially if it surrounds the other candle. So since you're moving these together, that is a high possibility that this candle will continue to burn down, especially if you're using household candles, because the two candles are so hot next to each other that they'll melt fairly quickly. And you'll have this where it'll pull around it. Now, if that happens, these are the candles that you don't want to break the seal. You want them to be stuck. You don't want them to move on. You want them to be stuck wherever they are and wallow in whatever you've sent towards them. Okay. So that's one way, and you can do that with. I think I grabbed a reversible candle here. Yeah. So you can do the same thing here. And in what case? Thank you. And in this case, if you were using a reversible candle, I would leave the reversible candle near you, because you want to continue to keep that reversing energy near you so that whatever comes towards your fiery wall gets reversed. Okay, so you don't want the reverse following them, because we don't want what we're sending out to them to come back. So we want to keep it here. And this would be where you're moving them out. And you'll notice in this book, in a lot of the works, which is the book that I've been referencing, that most of these candles that represent people will have these astrological candles. These are kind of candles that are used to energize, give you power, give you strength, give you courage, because they're resonant with you. Okay, and you'll notice that in the cursing works, or works where you're doing cleansing from things that someone had sent to you, the opponent's candle, the other person's candle, typically doesn't have that, because you don't want them to have that extra power. You don't typically want to dress their other candles unless it's with crossing stuff, because you don't want to give them any benefit. Even if it's just an astrological thing to say, oh well, they're a Taurus, I'm going to put Taurus. No, because then that helps resonate with their Taurus energy, and you're going to help benefit them. We don't want to do that. So you typically either want to, whenever you're working with opponents, crossing oils or no oil at all, no herbs at all. We don't want to give any help. Any questions so far? We're still doing good.
What about crossing herbs?
What about crossing herb? You could, well, I would use that in the candle that you're doing the crossing of. So if we were going back to the doom candle here, and we were following that along with the person, crossing stuff goes in here. Not so much in here. Does that make sense? I mean, if you're doing just crossing stuff, fine. But if you're doing something to where you don't want to necessarily harm the other person, you just want them to go away, you just leave them blank, give them no power. They have the power that they have, and that's it.
You want to leave them defenseless.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now I want to talk about some things of where we may start to use things that are moving candle spells instead of moving candle spells. So let's say that you have a candle here, and this represents, this is a money drawing candle. I know there's one over there. Yeah, we'll just do that. I'll just grab that. I'm going to have to move a lot of candles back by the end here. So we have a money drawing candle here. We have this white candle here. This is going to represent us. And we're going to have this candle here because this is what we're wanting to attract. So this is going to be our astral candle, our helper candle, our booster candle. And I'm not going to take these out of the pack, but lodestones, pyrite. So what I would do with this is I would take the lodestone that I had pre-charged, worked with. So that means feeding it, telling it what to do, that it's to draw things to me, especially if you're working with money, if it's a money lodestone. If it's your general work lodestone, then whenever you take it out of wherever you're working, you're going to say, well, for this working, we're doing a money working, so I want to draw in money to me. And then you're going to set the lodestone, wipe off all of the grit that you fed it, and we're going to use that. We're going to put the lodestone near our candle. You can't really see that, so I'm going to try to do it this way. So we're going to pretend that this is our big lodestone right here. We took all of the filings off of it. And then this we're going to dress with money oil. This is going to represent the money that is coming to us. Okay? Let's see if I can move some of this out of the way so you other guys can see here. Okay. So then you're going to take that dust that you took off of your lodestone, and since it's charged to that lodestone, we're going to sprinkle some over our pyrite. We're going to create a path to our candle, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this pyrite, and every day, instead of moving a candle, we're going to move the pyrite closer. So that's that pot of gold or whatever coming closer and closer to us. And then as it gets closer, what you're going to do once it gets all the way here, you're going to take this. You can take the lodestone as well. Take a little bit of the dust, and then make a mojo bag out of it. You've got 3 ingredients right there. It's ready to go. Now, another thing you can do is if you're wanting to charge something. Say you've got a talisman, or it could be another way to charge this for money. You can take whatever you're wanting to charge, put it in the center, and we're going to say, we're going to pretend all of these are money drawing candles. And, you can use whatever number is appropriate to you or whatever you're working on. In this case, especially with money or love, really, I like to think of stability. And whenever I think of stability, I think of 4, because there's 4 walls, to a house. There's 4 corners to a building. There's, 4. It makes me think of a house or building a structure. So stability. And what you're going to do is every day say a prayer that may God bless this pyrite to draw me money. And every day you just slowly move these inwards. And then by the time you get to the center, you let them burn down. And by the time it's done, if you do a type of divination, you can do a divination and say, is this charge sufficiently for my purpose? Do a reading, and if it does come out, then great. You can pick it up, throw it in a mojo, put it in as a pocket piece, put it on your altar, or whatever you want to do with it. You can set it up, in your house. If you into feng shui, put it in a certain place. You can do the same thing if you're trying to remove the power from something. So say somebody threw against you, and now I'm not sure. I've luckily never had to deal with somebody throwing at me in a physical form. So, throwing war water on my doorstep or something like that. But what you can do is, if, say, you woke up one morning and somebody threw war water on your doorstep, okay? You don't want to touch it till it's cleansed. You don't want to mess with it because you don't want to pick up whatever they threw at you. So you might sprinkle it with holy water. Might not feel like enough. Maybe you do a divination and feel didn't get quite all of it. So what you might want to do is take 4 or 5, or if you're Christian, you might take 3 candles and name them for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and start it just around the mess that was left. So say you've got a mess of war water on your front step. Set this around the mess, and then pray that this negativity be removed from my life, that whatever was thrown at me be removed and sent back to wherever it came from, and then slowly move these candles out. And this is, again, it's just pushing, pulling, and pressure is what moving candle spells are all about. And you can really do just about anything with them. I mean, does anybody have any situation that they'd like to do a moving candle spell with, don't know how to do it? Maybe I can give you an idea. Anybody have any moving candle spells that they like to do, that they'd like to share?
Well, not
Yeah.
share, but
Share.
well, I have a question. So, as far as like money drawing or business to attract customers, would that also be like just putting your intention candle in the middle and just moving those things closer?
There's candles. I'm not sure if Papa G has them here, but there's customer attraction candles that are screen printed, or you could print your own labels and use a blank one, and I'm not sure of it. I mean, you could probably use success or fast luck or better business would be a good one too, and then just name them for, these are my customers. I would like to draw in my customers, and then just do the same thing. You're just drawing them inwards.
Can you use the job candle for that as well?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So if you're trying to find a job, what you can do, say you've got 3 job opportunities. Say, you've got Wendy's, the bank, and I don't know, the grocery store. So you take a petition paper, write it on the bottom of each one of your or write on what each individual job on each paper. Put it under one under each candle. Say you've got 3, those 3. And again, you're going to draw these inwards. and then you're going to read that wax. So if the wax flows towards your candle, then maybe this is the Wendy's candle. Maybe the Wendy's candle burns towards your candle and starts to pull and lead towards your candle. These two, maybe they just burn straight down. Wendy's is probably going to be your better option. You know, if for instance these start to move away, or Wendy's starts to pull away, then those jobs aren't going to be good for you. They all might do that, in which case, do it again. Do it with a 3 different ones, 2 other ones that you find, something else. It's there's so many different ways that you can do it, that you can use the same setup for so many different things. You just have to think about, well, what am I pulling, what am I pushing, and what am I trying to put pressure on, and is that pressure positive or negative? Is there any other questions? Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to tarot spells.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I feel like I'm just extra and I do too much.
No, that's fine.
But would setting a tarot spell under
Mhm.
whatever the platform is of the moving spell, do you think that would be too much, or would that increase the intention?
Anything that you do that puts more intention, exactly, in what you're doing, that's pretty much one of the reasons why I like moving candle spells. Moving candle spells, you have to come back, you have to move it. You're not just lighting it, walking away, and going about and doing your business. You're coming back, you're actively putting intention into it. You're physically moving candles, breaking things from being stuck to move forward. You're putting so much more intention into things than in a moving candle spell than just a practical candle spell. So if tarot, if that is something that speaks to you when you see those cards sitting there and it helps evoke an energy for you, then I would say by all means do it. I would only use it with these because I wouldn't want wax on my candles. I mean, my cards. But yeah, absolutely. You can use tarot, Lenormand, anything.
So if you're trying to do, if somebody's at a crossroads in their life,
Okay.
you don't know what they should do.
Right.
You want to help them get clarity.
Yep.
And confidence and peace in that decision. I was just thinking about the road opener spell. Would you put together like a crossroads for them, or like what would you suggest in that? A single candle? Or?
So it would depend. Are you just help them find the clarity, or are you actually trying to help them make a decision?
Just find clarity.
Just find clarity. If you're just helping them find clarity, the simple, basic little 3 or 4, whatever you feel, which again, I like 4 because it says stability, especially in that case, clarity. I want stability in my understanding and my clarity. So you could have clarity candles on the outside. Put clarity on all of them, because you're not cursing this person, you're wanting to help them. So put clarity herbs and oils and all of this, and move it closer, move it in. That simple. If you're helping them make a decision, you could do the same thing with, like we were talking about with the job. You could draw out a crossroads if you wanted to with herbs, and say, okay, which path is going to be better for them, and then just see which pulls towards them as you're moving them closer, or which one pulls away. And then you can say, well, you label each one for a decision. Well, this decision is probably not going to be good for you. Don't do that one. That one moved away from you. This one's going towards you. Go this route. You'll probably have a better time. Anybody else?
Can you pull in and push away like at the same time, or would you do 2 different spells?
Absolutely. That's kind of what I was talking about with the double love spell. So whenever you've got somebody that is already in a relationship and you have 2 other people, then you're separating them, but also drawing them to other people. So yeah, you can definitely do them both at the same time.
Money, you can like move away debt and bring in money.
Yeah.
New job, basically.
You certainly could. So you could have a black candle that could represent your debt and things like that, and then as it moves out, like I said, you're going to be working on a small area. So once it moves out, you snuff that black candle out. I have no more debt. My debt is dead. and then you leave the other candles burning, your better business and you candle, or your job attraction candle and you candle.
Or even like with bad habits or
Yep.
whatever. Okay.
So it seems like y'all are getting the idea. That's good. So I hope that kind of gives you a basis for how to construct moving candle spells, how to think outside the box, and experiment.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're very welcome.